Here we are, hitting up events, drinking our way through Chicago beer, and trying not to miss a thing.
Yeah, because, got a cork popped out, boom, it flies like fucking 10 feet. We're like, yeah, let's do it.
All you have to do is add some fruit, stir it up, and ride that milk-shaped wave.
Whenever I see him, I gotta take a photo with the most decorated brewer in Chicago, Jonathan Cutler.
It'll be like the stuff you hear. You ever go to, every time you go to Floyd's, all the music sounds like this. Raw, raw, raw.
Sometimes you want a small beer, but really, you want a big beer.
You gotta take in all those big aromatic hops.
Hey, what are you doing this weekend? Waiting in line for a bottle release?
You should have never been a fad. The Black IPA is delicious.
Hey, and welcome to Chicago Beer Pass. I'm Brad Chmielewski.
Brad, what's up, man? I'm Nik White.
How you feeling about this angle stuff? It's still a little weird.
Very weird, yeah. I'm not used to it.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are we looking in the opposite direction here?
But it's all good. They get to see us.
That's true. That's all that matters, Brad.
Yeah. So we're drinking this very tasty Hazy Pale Ale from Old Irving.
Man, lords of the Hazy Pale, man. That's what they've become.
I know this isn't. This is a tasty beer, but it doesn't reign supreme like the one we had last year that made it on our list of our top beers. I don't like blanking on the name.
Yeah, I was like, you set it up. I'm like, Brad's gonna knock out this name. But it's in our stories.
Yeah, I forget what it was, but that was a great beer. But that was also, I think, it wasn't a hazy pale ale. It was just a pale ale. But this is Goiro? Yeah, because it looks like it's gyro or gyro, but it's Goiro.
At first glance, I thought it was gyro.
Right. I ordered it at the bar and said, "Oh, can I have the gyro?" And they're like, because I'm like, well, it's not gyro, but it's Goroy.
What the fuck does this even mean? Goryo.
I think it's like this crazy beast thing that's on here.
I'm determined to find this other beer, by the way.
Just scrolling in the feed.
Yeah.
It'd be early in the year. It would have been around this time in 2022. But this is a 5.2% hazy pale ale. I had this on... No, I had it out of can over at Old Irving, and it was tasty, and it was a new beer. So I was like, I'm bringing it out. I'm picking up a 4-pack for the show.
Yeah, good job by you, man. I fucking really dig this beer. And, I don't know what's going on. Oh, here we go. Banshee. Yeah.
Also, I think probably like a similar theme of this like mythic
Look at that.
beast. Similar colors. Yeah, see, it was a double dry hopped IPA.
Yeah, which is kind of funny because the double dry hopped IPA, 5.5%. The Hazy Pale Ale, 5.2.
Yeah.
So, to your point, they're not the same, but this one was Strata and Citra, the Banshee.
Okay.
With Strata and Citra and maybe a couple others, but those are only two I can see. And this is Sabro, Citra, and Matueka. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, slightly different. This is the same. Sorry, let me lean into the mic. I was listening to Shalana's episode, and she was away from the mic a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of the riff that I would assume a lot of breweries do locally, Hop Butcher, right?
Okay.
Kind of a similar base, and then you swap out those hops and let people just kind of enjoy these nuances,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tasty. It's got that orange juice vibe going on, and I'm digging it. 5%. That's kind of like, I want my beers around 5 to 6. Under 6. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah, the range is like orange juice, tangerine, grapefruit, right? There's a spectrum of those kind of flavors, yeah. It's so good, man. It's just so good, It's like, I'm glad we've arrived at Hazy's being this, nice, tight, 5%, all the things you like about a Hazy, but nothing crazy that lingers, you know what I mean?
Right. None of that lactose, none of that like extra whatever they throw in it. So we're gonna sip on this and talk about our week. But I was already mentioning the Old Irving stop, and I really just went over there because I didn't have anything at home for lunch.
Oh, right on.
And I was like, this should be a good stop.
It's your local brewery, man. One of your local breweries.
Yeah, basically. So they had do their burgers of the week, so I got the burger of the week.
Nice. What was the burger week? They're doing that like Kuma's style. Kuma's is like a burger of the month though.
Yeah.
They used to get Kuma's a lot. Burger of the month.
It had some like spicy sweet sauce on a regular burger with arugula, brioche bun kind of thing.
I like Old Irving a lot. I love their beers. Sometimes their food looks great and it looks better, and then when I bite it, I want it to be as good as it looked.
I agree with that.
Okay,
There
okay.
are times where you're like, that should have been better, but okay. Their fries are really good. They're like double fried fries.
Yeah, they got me with those photos though. Sexy fucking photos.
Yeah.
I go for the photos.
Yeah. I think I missed the burger of the week. Last week was a lam burger, and I would have been down with that.
Yeah.
But this one was good, and I got to try this beer, and it seemed like there was some sort of meeting or they're planning something, because I felt like a lot of other people or brewers or people that worked from other places, no one I recognized, were there meeting, talking about something in the other room.
Cider Summit?
Why? They don't have a cider.
I don't know. Maybe they got a lot of space. Maybe they picked cider. I don't know. Cider Summit.
They were drinking just Dellas. They were pouring like trays and trays of Della.
Like a trade show or like a conference.
I don't know. But I did find out that I think it was April, they hope to be going at the spot in the brewing district.
That's right. It's a weird experience. It's only weird in name, right? Because it's no longer in the Old Irving neighborhood, you know.
Right.
But good for them, because I think they're brewing their flagships. I think they're brewing Beezer and Della out of Great Central, so they're taking that over again and just brewing their own beer, and they're brewing it in the Chicago Brewing District because they have a second brewery now, a production brewery.
I just kind of wonder, like, is it that they have food and felt like more of a neighborhood presence, that they're doing better than Hopewell or something like that, who's been around a little longer, who's also making great beer. What makes the Old Irving expansion work where Hopewell or Alarmist doesn't work? And it's just beer.
Yeah.
Like,
Now
what are you selling, or how are you getting so much inventory out there?
now we're getting into SKUs and what sells at bars, what sells at grocery stores, right? Because I'm kind of removed from that. Like, I'd love to know more about that piece, right? I think it's twofold, right? Like, well, you must be moving a ton of this stuff at a retail level in chain stores. That's my
Right.
assumption. And then also you probably have access to capital where you're even able to do this, and it's not as risky or
That the other people might not have.
exactly. I think it's those two things. But I'd like to know, like, concrete wise. Like, I'd like to know more. I'd like to know.
And they
know
must
more
have a bigger expansion plan for maybe going farther in Illinois, maybe going into Michigan or Wisconsin, that maybe some of these other breweries are like, we're good at the level we're at right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's all a gamble, right? Like, we were talking about Beta Brow in the pre-show, and the Beta Brow gamble was like, hey, in that old Moody Tongue space, it's a $5 million gamble. And if it works, we'll get our $5 million back in like 8-10 years. And if it don't work, we'll shut the shit down and leave, right? And they're all essentially a gamble in that regard, right?
Yeah. It's just, I wonder what clicked for Old Irving
Yeah.
that didn't click for some other brewery.
Now that we talk about it, when we run into them again, I'd like to kind of dig a little deeper if we can. Yeah.
It's got to be one retail that's just like massively pumping, like selling their stuff, right?
All it takes is like one hotel chain with, that's got a local focus on beers in downstate, right, or whatever, and you're off and running.
Yes, damn. All these questions we don't know that just lead to more questions.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my only stop this past week. I thought about hitting up Cruz Blanca for lunch another day, but just didn't make it.
I often think about Cruz Blanca.
Yeah, it was like it's a little too far if I'm downtown to like walk to. Maybe I'm like, if it gets to 40 degrees.
What's this guy doing on the can of the fucking
He's
Goryo? Is this Goryo?
I guess so. He's summoning the hops from hell.
He's summoning the Sabro and Matueka. Yeah, he's a strange character. Cloaked. He's got a cape. I don't know what's going on here. The hack is to go to Lena Brava next door and then just order all the Cruz Blanca beers. And it's just like an upscale. I mean, it's basically an upscale Cruz Blanca experience without all the people.
I don't think it's open for lunch. Right?
You're right. Probably not.
I just want to sit at the bar,
That's-
have a taco, have a quesadilla and
Yeah.
a beer, and be on my way.
That's true. Fair. Never mind.
But so no suburban stop for me, no suburban adventure. Maybe coming up soon.
I was getting used to Suburban Brad, you know.
Sometimes it
I
just
thought it was going to be like a feature on the show, you know.
there
I'm about to
are
crack another one of these.
yeah, do it. There are days where it feels a little too far, right?
Yeah, I can tell you why it feels that far.
It is far, yeah. So I feel like I have to balance it out a little bit with the local spots. We can't forget about them, right?
Yeah, I hear you. I wanted to go to Geneva recently. I was going to go. There's a cool whiskey bar out there.
Oh, nice.
And I can't think of the name of it, but I've been to it before. And I was just going to hit up art history. Oh, but then I was like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, but there's still places I haven't been in the city. I haven't gone to Oakenroy.
Oh, no?
I haven't gone to Adams Street yet.
You know, it's difficult to. I struggle with this week. It's difficult to stay in the city and hit different spots every week because we have our routes. You know, the Old Irving, Maplewood. I don't know what the triangle is, but it's somewhere between Old Irving, Maplewood, and Rev, and whatever
And
is
Half Acre.
And Half Acre. That's kind of our route.
Yeah.
You know, used to be Peace. You know.
Yeah. There are times when it's like peace. So I see what they're doing again, but
Yeah. So it's a challenge. So I don't know, man.
it's it's tough, and I don't feel like I don't want to mention the same things on the podcast every week, right? We've been doing it for so long that's like how many times can I mention going to Old Irving, right?
There are some subtleties here, right? Because you did get the Goryo, and it's different from the Banshee, and they're both good. And we've crowned them the Lord of the Hazy Pale, and we didn't do that before. So we have some subtleties here, you know. And had you not gone and get this, I would. And to be honest with you, if you didn't go get the Banshee, I wouldn't have known either.
Right.
So I think we just keep doing our thing, and just push it.
We're doing it right.
You know, just keep doing it. Just green light, go. Just keep doing what you're doing.
What about you then? What'd you do?
Man, well, you know, I went to the same spots we always go to. Shout out to Pipeworks.
Okay.
You know, I saw Brad was out on the move and I didn't make it anywhere, so I went to Pipeworks on my lunch break. And I'm like, I'll go in the dojo for a second, get a Ninja vs. Unicorn, and then maybe find out something. That didn't happen because it's curbside only, so when you go up, the door's locked and they got the QR code. So you got to wait for someone to come out.
In the cold?
And, well, you know, it was 40. It was 40 at lunch. But yeah, other
I wasn't quite for it. I would have went to Cruz Blanca today.
So I get my MVU, and then, you know, they throw me a bonus 4-pack of Lizard King.
Because it was you or just...
I don't know. I mean, just being nice. I'm just going to say I was being nice.
Okay.
I was like, oh, it's very nice. Very kind, sir. Thank you. And he's like, this is super fresh. You should get on it. So then I flipped the can over, and it was canned yesterday.
Oh, shit.
So I was pretty excited about that. you know. Super fresh Lizard King. I was telling him Lizard King is the first beer I get whenever I go to Sox Park. I either get Lizard King or I get something from Blue Island, right? You know, or Ravinia. You know, just, you know, that's the whole point of being at Sox games. You can drink all these crazy local beers.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I got to talking to whoever the guy is that gives me my beer, and you know, I want to get into this fucking thing about Bishi and then Mito Koya, because there was always a rumor of them opening in Logan, and I told you I rode my bike, and next to Mito Koya, there's some brewery tanks in there, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, and then he starts smiling.
Oh.
So he didn't confirm, and I don't even know this guy. He didn't confirm, but he's like,
sort of denied.
He kind of led with the Bishi thing. I'm like, yo, are you guys going into that spot on Diversity in Milwaukee? Because you always talk about Logan. It's actually Diversity in Cali. You always talk about going to Logan, and I saw tanks, and I thought it was you guys. And he's like, no, we're doing our Bishi thing. I don't know if you heard about that. I'm like, yeah, I know about Bishi. And then I'm like, well, what about this other thing? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he just starts laughing.
Oh.
So I take that for what it's worth, you know.
Maybe this Bishi thing blows up, and then people like get addicted to their beer, and then how far is that spot from Bishi then?
It's just all the same neighborhood, right? So what Bishi is Milwaukee Ave, near in between Fullerton and Logan. And then shit, BC is probably what, like 0.3 at the most, less than a half mile. I would say BC is less than a half mile from Itaquayo. It's so weird, right? This is the weirdest rollout of a beloved brewery with no tap room.
But a beloved brewery that I think people have forgotten about.
It's very difficult to keep momentum locally, right? If you don't have a place where people can drink your stuff, that's hard. I like Pipeworks a lot. You mean, but there's no Pipeworks tap room, so it's like I find myself just knowing they're good, but then don't make the rounds to Pipeworks as much as I should.
Right, I just sort of forget about that. Like, I don't even know, is there another crew like that just has a production brewery and no tap room? Or I feel like there is somebody. I'm like blanking on. No, there was Finch, right? But
the brewery that never dies. There's so many breweries. But it reminded me of Owen and
you
Engine.
gotta have a tap room.
I know it's switching gears a little bit because Owen and Engine is this classic burger joint. But yeah, they're never fucking open, Owen and Engine.
Right.
And after a while, you're just like, well, as much as I love that burger, then well, if I can't have it on site, then fuck it.
Yeah, I know you mentioned Maplewood, and they have this tap room, but I don't like going to this tap room, so then I often forget.
Because they're in there playing fucking Chief Keef super fucking loud.
And it's like as big as this room we're recording in. So that I forget Pipeworks, not Pipeworks, Maplewood exists because of this tap room is the worst experience ever when I go there.
I still fuck with the Maple Room.
Right.
I do like it.
And I think they make good beer, and when I have it, I'm like, oh damn, same with Pipeworks.
Yeah.
I think that sort of sucks, but also shows you have to have a tap room.
Yeah, I guess they're fixing it by taking over the Bishi program. I think Ninja vs. Unicorn, maybe, I don't know. It's sentimental in a way. For me, Haymarket is very sentimental, right? It came along at a time where I was just kind of getting into beer, and I just have memories of being at that joint. And whenever I drink Ninja vs. Unicorn, it's kind of the same feeling because I remember them being guys that just kind of worked all day at the map room.
Yeah.
And, cranking out this idea for a brewery. And then everyone there was a buzz about them before they opened. So when MVU dropped and it was good, the people got really excited and they came out with all this crazy schedule of beers, and it was a moment. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So I'm reminded of that moment, so I get excited when I hear the name.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, so maybe it's just nostalgic for me, right? But
You know who's the other place that I think is gonna suffer the same fate? Three Floyds.
No.
Not that. Well, you went there more than I would. But I think a lot of people would go there. The food was great. The beer's great. No spot. I'm not really. I would drink less Three Floyds now.
And you know what sucks is like I add them to the list of folks I drink at Sox Park because I rarely get them. But and Three Floyds is, I think it might have been the best brew pub that there ever was.
And they just said no more.
It's the best brew pub ever, and yeah, so
The music was loud, but at like a respectable loudness.
Yeah, there's that. If I'm thinking of like brew pub experience, I don't think there's anything better than going to Three Floyds, especially like right now, right? Like if it were 8 degrees and I had been in the house for 5 days and it's snowing, what do I do? That's the first place I would go. So I miss that place.
Yeah. All right, so you picked up some Pipeworks. We have some freshies.
Fresh MVU. MVU's like 8 days old. Fucking Lizard King's like a day old. So that was kind of cool.
Nice.
Yeah. And then
And then you hit up a spot tonight too, right? Another one, you double header, same day, right?
Yeah, man. Shout out to Metropolitan Brewing.
Okay.
Fell through there. Took some pictures of the tap list, Brad, because I wanted to know if you knew some of these beers that I saw, man.
Okay. And then I'm gonna find my way over there next week.
It's delicious, man. And then what is Dynamo Copper Lagers are winter. Right. When we did the show, that's the beer I think I left with.
Okay.
It's what is it? It's basically a dark. It's not a dark lager. It's it's a darker lager. So it's 5.6%. It's a winter release. Oh, I never get the Arc Welder Dunkel Rye.
Oh yeah.
I've heard of the Arc Welder, but I never get it.
Hey, that's all right.
Oh, but there was a fuck. I didn't take a picture of it. Yeah, there was another beer that I didn't know about, and I'm like, oh yeah, here it is. Microvolt Table Lager.
Oh yeah,
You're familiar with that one?
that's in cans.
Okay. Yeah, that's a year-round offering. I'm not familiar with that one.
It's gonna be close to like Flywheel and what's the other one? The Crankshaft.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's similar. I feel like it falls in the same category. If you're picking up any of those, you might grab that one instead.
Yeah. So first beer I got was I got the Dynamo Copper Lager. You know, it's a winter lager. So I got that one. So cheers to them. I just wanted to try that on for size. They had a draft called the Specialty Impulse Beer.
Okay.
And you had to ask what it was. And he's like, oh, well, it's fucking, it's a dry hop version of Dynamo Copper Lager, but it uses Mount Hood hops.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, oh, I'll take that for a spin.
Nice.
Changed its profile completely. It's like super fucking bright, kind of orange, kind of lemony hop note.
Okay.
So it was fun. I saw
coffee beers.
Oh yeah, and then I got the Woke as Hellas. Dude, this is the best beer there. The best beer here is the Woke as Hellas, 4.8% on nitro.
Okay.
Oh man, it's so good.
Nice.
So good. Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't see not too many people there. I saw Courtney. Shout out to Courtney. Courtney Baldy is a how would you describe her? Industry veteran.
Sure.
Pastry chef at Three Floyds, pastry chef at Revolution.
Uh-huh.
And then she won the Brew Pub Shootout 3 years in a row with pastry dishes.
Uh-huh.
So that was so we talked about that.
She worked for a brewery called it started with an A or something for a while.
Oh, she was at Brewdog for a quick second.
Okay, yeah, maybe that's what it was.
And then she's been at Metro for 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So got to catch up with her. That was nice. You know, because I think the first time that I used to run with this crew that recorded Loyola basketball, men's basketball games. They used to record them and broadcast them on the internet.
Okay.
And this was my first time using video. So
Okay.
I was like the microphone guy, and these guys were recording. Oh, but the very first time I ever did anything in front of a camera, I did it at Revolution in the middle of the day, and Courtney was the person we were interviewing.
Funny.
So that was cool. It was cool to just kind of reminisce on that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Winter activities, right? That was a winter thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Nice.
that was fun.
Cool.
Whew.
Yeah, feeling all right there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah, some local stops this past week. Let's see. In the news, another brewery closed. Flesk.
Yeah. Flesk Brewing up in Barrington, Illinois.
I think so. Yeah. I always like their logo. It had like a sword on it.
Yeah.
I feel like they were a crew that was in the homebrew. Did they start around like 18th Street and around that time?
I mean, it's very
Spiteful.
It's very possible, right? It feels that way to me too.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Or were they like the next wave? They might have been the next wave.
It's all kind of blurry. I know that he was the head brewer at Lunar at one point. They were brothers. They were the O'Brien brothers. You know?
Okay.
And one of them was a head brewer at
If Lunar can
at
survive and you can't,
which you know, Lunar is in Elmhurst, right? Or maybe Villa Park. They were in Barrington, which you know is one of the most expensive zip codes in the entire nation.
really?
Yeah, Barrington's like there's a lot of cash in Barrington.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
So it's like, you know, so they I don't know.
Guess I haven't go to Barrington.
And no one goes to I mean, unless you're already up there. Right?
They don't let people into Barrington. That's why they close.
Like, what are you doing up there?
No.
Yeah. So they I think their run was like 20, maybe about 9-10 years.
Yeah, that's a pretty good run. Like, not to say they didn't. I don't think they failed. I don't know the reasons they closed, but like that's a pretty good run to just be like, okay, this might not be growing like we thought. We're just ready to do something else.
Yeah. I feel like anybody that throws their hat into the ring and says, "Hey, I'm gonna make beer and go out and have a space and invite people out." Anybody that does that, you know, I salute them.
And you make it at least 5 years, because
You know.
what isn't it like the restaurant? Like most of them go under like 5 years or 3 years.
Is that the
something like
cutoff?
that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a good run. You know, I remember them. What was it? medieval times at a beer fest, and at the beer fest, the Flesh guys were there, and they had a collaboration brown ale with Arcade Brewing
Oh.
and bottles there. So I remember that. It was a brown ale. It was a smoked brown ale with ancho chilies. Yeah, it was called Arch Nemesis. So I remember that for some reason. Oh, because we probably interviewed them that day.
I feel like all of those words are a time in beer that, like, is that time.
Yeah.
Like, you would not see that beer today.
No. People, I think, the defining feature of craft beer is let's be as wild and noticeable as possible, just because the microbreweries are not that. Let's go the opposite direction and do some weird shit. Yeah. Yeah, smoked brown ale with ancho chilies? No.
That's like, yeah. Okay.
So, but yeah, cheers to them. It's a good run.
Yeah. So, and then you were mentioning an expansion of Moody Tongue,
Oh yeah,
but not in Chicago because
No.
they're at a $5 trillion space.
Moody Tongue's satellite brewery, satellite tap room is going to be in New York City,
New York City?
in Greenwich Village. And it's going to be a sushi restaurant, which is a whole different concept from what they're doing here. I think Jared Wentworth here, if I remember
Jared
right,
Rubin.
Jared Rubin is the head brewer.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
But
yeah,
Jared
Jared.
Wentworth,
That's right.
Wentworth is the kitchen guy,
Okay.
the chef, right? I want to say he was at Longman, and then he came on.
This is a very confusing thing. I gotta imagine opening a sushi restaurant is incredibly hard
Yeah.
because sushi is like a dime a dozen now. And in New York, you gotta be like a really good restaurant, right? You either gotta be like cheap as shit, like dollar pizza slice, or you gotta be like good enough that people like want to go there, right? I don't know. I'm not eating in New York, so
I've been to New York maybe once or twice. I went for a festival.
yeah.
I have no idea.
But, so okay, if you were gonna open a sushi restaurant here, and Moody Tongue was like, "We're opening a sushi restaurant," I'd be like, "I don't think you know how to do sushi."
Unless I was snagging a sushi chef, because there's some fun sushi places.
Sure.
I think it's Tenoshi. I think of the one in Edgewater, cross street from Little Bad Wolf, up in up on North Clark. I like that place a lot. But there's probably a lot of good places that I've been to that I couldn't name. Like there's some spots in West Loop that are really good at sushi.
Right.
It seems kind of crowded, to your point.
It seems crowded. It seems like 10 years ago, like we kind of are like, sushi is like a common thing on restaurants and menus at Jewel, at Mariano's. Like you can get it at the train station, like before you got on the train, kind of shit.
That's funny.
That's if they're opening a ramen restaurant, that might be a little more interesting.
I'm here for the ramen. If Moody Tongue opens a ramen joint, I'm here for the ramen, yeah.
Right. So a sushi restaurant.
It's a cold weather town. We need as much ramen as we can get.
Right. So a sushi restaurant. I know. I'm sure. Like they're getting a lot of food shipments in New York and everything, and they're probably getting. I don't think they're getting any fresher things than we're getting in Chicago, because they're farther. The sushi's got to come from Japan, right? The good sushi.
Well, I don't have all the answers, Brad. But I think you're right. Well, at least the method, right? The method comes from Japan.
Are they going to brew there too?
I think it's just this press release didn't give a lot of details. It doesn't sound like they're brewing there. They make no reference of this chef and where he's from, and they don't really talk about why they went into sushi, right? So those are questions that I would have too. Like, hey, it's a full tasting menu here in Chicago. So, so why'd you go to the sushi concept? And A, B, why is it in New York, right? And then C, did you even think about brewing there? Are you going to brew there? There's a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, I think it's almost like they feel like their beers are, I don't know, at like a higher level that only people in New York are going to like appreciate. Like you can't go down to Nebraska and be like, oh, no one's going to get our, I don't know, saffron truffle.
Lychee fucking...
Yeah.
Truffle pills. I think the truffle pills is going to be on. But I think if the rumor is true that they're moving a lot of beer in China, right?
Then open up a place in China. Open
Or
up
maybe-
open up an American restaurant in China.
The point I was gonna make was that I
Right?
think this move might be distributor driven, and whoever's shipping their beer to China is probably like, hey, you need to have a presence in New York because it's easier for me to maybe sell more of your beer up the Eastern Seaboard, and and China. I think it might be distributor driven. Right. I have a lot of questions. I don't know. I'd like to know.
Or open up a Chinese dumpling place in New York,
Dude
right?
said, open up a brewery in China.
Open up an American restaurant in China. Like, do your chocolate cake in China,
Yeah, I can't. We can't front on chocolate. Chocolate cake's nice.
right?
Fair
Like
enough.
that feels. If I was Chinese, I'd be like, that is incredibly American. This is ridiculous giant chocolate cake.
Yeah. Like, look at
It's a huge slice that like lasts like 3 days.
fucking 12 layers of cake.
Yeah,
That's fucking
that's like the most American, ridiculous thing there is.
That's a good point. Yeah. It's the opposite of what they're doing over there.
All right, I'm gonna end it there. This episode is just like way too many questions for me that I think
A lot of known unknowns in this episode.
yeah.
You know.
All right, so let's get out of here, Nick. Where can people find you? Get in touch.
Hey man, I'm on Twitter at Nicosio.
And I'm on Twitter, BRAD, Chicago Beer Pass, Twitter, Instagram, all the places. And we'll be back hopefully with some bourbon places and a few festivals coming up. So take care.
Cheers.
Yeah.